Welcome back to the JustBeCos podcast, a podcast about all things life and cosplay. Yes, it's me, your boy Jeremy. We're back again with another episode, this time recorded all the way down here in Melbourne. And as you can see, we've got some video this time. Isn't that cool? If you're listening in, then guess what? We've got a video version of this too, so check it out on YouTube if you feel like it. But today I have the very great honour of being here with one of my besties. This is my friend Kien here. Kien will tell you about himself in a bit, but basically he does video work. And he basically was a cosplayer, now he's like a professional videographer and photographer, and he started off in cosplay. So that's really cool. So we're going to kind of find out his story today and learn a bit about that. But Kien, thank you very much for setting up this wonderful warm setup. You can kind of see it. It's really cool. We'll take a screenshot a bit later so you can actually see this. But Kien, for anyone who doesn't know you, can you tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do?
Sure. Well, first, thanks for having me. So I'm Kien, as he's mentioned. I'm from Melbourne. Always been a bit of a creative myself. And yes, that is correct. I used to do cosplay, either participating or hosting things at conventions, or I used to make props as well, which we can give you guys a little bit of a sneak peek later. But yeah, I think the transition was an interesting one for sure. Going from one different artsy side to another. Yep. I found it somewhat transferable in some ways, and of course it had its own challenges and interesting things as well.
Cool. Well, that's excellent. So right now you are a photographer and a videographer, but obviously this isn't something that kind of came overnight, because like we met at a convention through friends. The quick story of how we met is like, it was just as, you know, friends of friends. You meet at a convention and you talk and then you catch up, and you probably had the same idea of me as I had of you. Just like, oh, cool, just another dude. He seems pretty cool, whatever.
Pretty accurate.
But as you probably all know about my wonderful life story, where I had a breakup and stuff like that. One of the first things I did was come down to Melbourne, do some soul searching, meet cool people, see if there's any friendships develop. And me and Kien actually got on like a house on fire, so we've kind of kept in touch since then. But I met you because initially you were a cosplayer just like me. We're both doing League of Legends. We're both walking red flags, but you've stopped, so you're getting better. But just with that, so you first got into cosplay. Was that something with cosplay itself that you always wanted to do, always really liked from the very start, or was cosplay something you also kind of picked up as you...
Yeah, I think no one's actually asked me that before. How actually all started was I heard of this magical thing called anime conventions. So for those who've been on the scene for a long, long time, you may have heard of Manifest. So that was one of the OG conventions that we had in Melbourne. It's nothing like the production that you see now from Supernova, etc. It was literally made up by, to my knowledge, someone check it, and I'm sorry if I get it wrong, but I'm pretty sure it was done by anime club members of Melbourne University. So they got together, they made a little convention thing, so it was really, by fans for the fans. And when I went there for the first time, I WAG school. Bad.
Nice. No, good man. You miss out on opportunities you don't take, and one of them you can't get by staying in school. Don't say anyone I said that.
Or you can blame me for being the bad influence.
It's fine.
But essentially, I heard of this thing where it's like, whoa, I can find a safe haven to talk about the nerdy stuff I like. They also like video games, not just anime.
Yeah.
That's basically what it was. So I'm like, I'm all in. So I went in, no expectations whatsoever. But as soon as I got in there, I was like, whoa, these people are really dressed up.
Yeah.
These guys look really cool. I know that character. That's Haku from Naruto, but it's a girl. That's Sasuke from Naruto, but it's a girl as well. But that's cool still.
Yeah.
Whoa, some of these people have colored hair. And back then, wigs were not a thing. It's not like you go on eBay, Amazon, Taobao, etc., etc. I don't know what's out there now. That didn't exist. So everyone had to either cosplay a character that you had the hair or you grew out the hair for. Or, I don't know if you remember those colored spray things.
Party hairspray.
The party ones.
It still exists.
The ones where you go, and then it just looks like gunk on your head.
It looks crap. We
Very
all did it.
crusty.
Every single person has done it. If you haven't done it, you're ahead of the curve. You've been living well.
Like, okay, this is actually really cool. I would love to be one of the characters I like as well. Maybe I should do it. So the following year, I'm like, I'm going to make it a goal to WAG school again and cosplay this time.
What did you cosplay as your first one?
Hitsugaya from Bleach, the little short guy.
With the white hair. That was your first?
That was my first.
I've seen pictures of that. I didn't know that was your first one.
That was literally my first.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's cool. Now, because you and I, like I said, we met at a PAX one year, like 2013 or something, way back when.
Yeah, it was Melbourne's first PAX or Australia's first PAX.
Right. Okay,
Yeah.
cool. I don't know if I flew down specifically for PAX or if I got invited for something.
Yeah, I'll give a reminder. So that one was when League of Legends was huge. Like, it still is big right now, but it was what everyone was talking about. There was no Fortnite. World of Warcraft wasn't as popular.
No, yeah, Riot Games, the company makes League. They had an office in Australia, and they had money. They were flying cosplayers left, right, and centre just to go to events.
I didn't know.
So I don't know if that was the event we went to, but we got flown down to Sydney. We got flown to Brisbane, where I live, for another event because, like I said, they were very generous with what they did. So actually, I don't think that was one. So I think I came down with my partner at the time to go to PAX because Riot Games was there. It's like, holy crap, first time they're going to be at a convention kind of thing, and
It was real cool from memory.
it was really fun. They were just throwing freebies. They were giving stuff out, giving away gaming equipment. It was really cool. I think in recent years, I had a chat with Jem and Ash from Melbourne. I think they said, they've been slowly coming back to...
Just a reminder who they are.
Yeah, no, Jem, if you guys have been listening, the Jem Cosplay from Melbourne, Ash, Dragon Ash Cos, also from Melbourne, they're still very, very active in the scene. You haven't met them, obviously, because you haven't been as active, but they're friends who I'm going to see. Just for context, the day that we're recording this, DreamHack is currently going on this weekend.
I stole him.
It's fine. Like, I want to hang out with Kien. It's fine. So it's a Friday. Everyone's at the con, and I'm sitting here drinking a cup of tea with Kien. It's fine. But so they told me, that in recent, like in the last year or so, there've been events at Fortress in Melbourne and Sydney, in which Riot Games has. I don't know if they've hosted or they say, let's use this as like the gathering point, which they said get a bunch of League cosplayers, pay them.
Okay,
And
that's good to hear.
Yeah, no, it's really good. So, Riot Games they treat cosplayers quite well in comparison to other companies. Like, oh well, can you please do this? We'll get you a free ticket or something. No, Riot is they're doing good by cosplayers. But the point of this story is we were at PAX, both dressed up as League characters, and that's kind of where we first met. But obviously, at that point in time, I remember talking to you and. The chat that we kind of had was, what are you kind of doing with yourself at this point in time? And you, I believe, at the time were kind of getting to the point where you had made enough costumes. You're like, oh, cool, I kind of know what I'm doing with making a costume, but I want to see if there's any viable outcome to, make some money from this or make an income. And so you started like a prop business? Is that kind of what happens?
Yeah, so yes, it pretty much ended up becoming prop related. So taking us back to 2006 and onwards, you really couldn't buy much costumes or props the same way that you can right now, because we're fortunate to have things like Google and all that. You can literally type any character and you'll probably find
a costume,
the wig, and even the props sometimes.
Even the props you can find at 3D print files you can get, because that's so accessible these days, right? So
yeah, so I noticed that as part of my experience of making my first few costumes, that a lot of the information was just mutually shared. It's kind of like, hey, cool, you got a cool costume. Oh, well, what's that made out of? And like, you suss it out and you talk and you share ideas. And I realized that was a big roadblock for a lot of people who wanted to cosplay certain characters or to look a certain way, but they just didn't have the know-how. Heck, Google was very limited on tutorials at that stage as well. So I thought, well, I've learnt a couple of skills, nothing professional, nothing special, but I could potentially share that or open that up to others who may want to. So that's where the prop making really, really came in. And yeah, I mean, I had so much fun getting into conventions, really enjoying and meeting all like-minded friends and all that. So this is just an extension of it.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
Now, I know after a while, like, you've done some soul searching as much as I have. Sometimes it's prompted by a breakup. Look, I'm not saying have a breakup, but you need to do some soul searching, and certain things trigger that, and a big thing is breakups, right? Because I know you, just like me, we've had relationships which have started and have ended, and obviously you're kind of thinking about what you want to do with yourself. Now, through the prop business, I remember sitting down with you one night just on the phone, and was having a chat, and you're like, dude, let me just kind of spell out to you like my business plans, what I want to do, and it sounded great because you really liked what you were doing, you're really enthusiastic about it. Why did you stop?
Why did I stop? So it wasn't, I think my ideas and the reason why I got into it remained the same the whole time. What mainly changed was the market itself. So I was spending, God knows how many hours making props. One would take as little as 30 hours at a minimum.
Yeah.
That's from the drafting stage to all the way up to cutting it down and sanding it down or whatever it is I'm using.
Is it like woodwork and
Yeah, it was predominantly woodwork, and then put in thermoplastics and foam and all that as well. But yeah, the market essentially changed. And at that same time, I was trying to grow my reach.
Yeah.
So to get my work out there.
Of course.
Like how most people are nowadays as well. I mean, phone technology was a lot more limited back then as well. So I thought, okay, what if I can share some of the stuff I'm doing, or even tips and tricks, but let's record it. So I was like, okay, how do I do that? I need to buy a camera. Right, don't really have the money for that.
Right.
But hey, we all got one of these.
A phone, absolutely.
So yes, there was a lot of, photographers and videographers out there. And you had me running around with that on a little phone gimbal. That's the stabilizer thing.
Yeah.
And I did get weird looks and everything because everyone's like, nah, if it's either a camera or it's nothing.
Yeah.
And I was like, no, if I stick to that means I'll never get started. So I thought, let's make the most janky stuff to try to push the message, and we could potentially tweak it as things go.
So you kind of started getting into photography like with a phone, or take pictures of other cosplayers as a way to connect and put your name out there as not just a photographer, but someone who also makes cosplay props. So you can kind of advertise your services to the community.
Pretty much.
Right, okay.
Advertise services and why I'm doing it, and I just want more people to jump on.
Yeah, right.
That's pretty much what it was, yeah. But I would say there was no aspirations whatsoever to be a photographer, videographer. That was way past my head.
Right. And then at a certain stage, I remember you also having this conversation with me. You kind of said at some stage your gear just got better and you started doing photo shoots. Like I started doing photo shoots with you as well. It was either because I was a guinea pig or you just liked my costumes. Either maybe it was both. Let's just say we both benefited from something like that. But so yeah, you did photography for a while, and you're doing photography within cosplay for a while. But then at some stage, you kind of said, I don't really need to cosplay at this point in time. I just want to kind of take photos. At what point in time did you say, yeah, I'm not really doing much cosplay anymore. I kind of want to take more photos. What was there like something that just clicked? And you're like, oh, I don't want to do cosplay anymore? Or did something kind of click in your head that was like, yeah, I want to do more photography and
yeah,
cosplay?
so it is very, very similar to how I started to get into conventions, where essentially it wasn't nothing planned. It really was using the phone or using a camera as a tool to just push the outlet. And then as I kept on doing it, I realized, I've actually been learning a lot of stuff about camera work, or just how to film in general. Whatever your tool is, whether it's a camera or a phone.
Yeah.
Very similar in the sense of how I discovered prop making. So I'm like, okay, I didn't expect to get into this, but I might have something working here.
Yeah.
So I realized that I started to really enjoy camera work, and then I was like, you know what, let's do it on the side more as a hobby.
Yeah.
So similar to what you said, doing a couple cosplay photos here and there. And I think by then, with the prop market changing and new acquired skills, I thought, you know what, I think I would like to give this a go for a little transition. Yeah.
Was there a certain point for yourself personally in which you felt like, because I know you don't really cosplay much anymore, like I see one prop here, make two props, And when we first met, you had like a whole shed just full of equipment, full of posters and stuff like that. But was there a certain point in which, what was something you expected and say like, this is going to be my last cosplay, I'm not going to do any more after this? Or did it just so happen that one day you thought, oh, I'm not going to cosplay to this next con and just bring my camera, and you kind of never picked it up again? Is that kind of something you expected to stop and said, this is the last one, or it kind of just stopped and you never really kind of made that decision to do so?
I mean, to the cosplayers that are listening,
Yeah.
how many of you guys have dream cosplays?
Yeah. Every single person.
Yeah, and the list is usually
It's pretty long.
It doesn't stop at one or two. The list goes quite a while. So yes, there were more.
Yeah.
So essentially, the stop of being at conventions and doing cosplay did fizzle out when I did pick up the camera. So it wasn't something I planned. In fact, I actually wanted to do like one final one as a big, finale.
A big last hurrah kind of thing.
Yeah,
right.
But by then, I've realized that I haven't been keeping up with all my inventory. So my supplies, my paint, my glues, they were drying out and running out.
Yep.
So I was like, I could purchase more. And back then, I was buying by the bulk.
Yeah.
It was just a lot more affordable.
Of course.
And I just couldn't see the reason. So I was
right.
like, you know what? I'm already enjoying what I'm doing.
Cool.
Yeah.
Now, I know, because it's for yourself and just like anybody, and I think anybody who kind of listens to this podcast, just anybody you talk to in general with cosplay, this is something that is like our passion. It's an escape. It's something that we look forward to, something we think about all the time. And it's obviously something that was like that for you at one stage as well. Was there something that you felt similar to with photography, or when you picked up the camera, you think to yourself, hey, this is fun, this is enjoyable, I feel like I benefit from this? Because let's be real, anyone who does cosplay knows that it costs money, right? It takes time out of your day, it takes sleepless nights, and you're wondering more often than not, why am I still doing this? Is this worth it, right? So, but obviously we go to the convention, we meet people, we feel fantastic, we look great, we get some cool photos back and say, yeah, this is worth it, and that's why we kind of continue
And cool
to do
connections.
it. And cool connections. Is that something that you felt like, wow, photography kind of brings me that same kind of joy, and that's kind of what made you want to do more, I guess, photo shoots and pick up the camera more? Is that kind of what happened for you?
Yeah, very, very similar. So if we're looking back at the period I was doing cosplay, it was really about sharing it. Like, I had such a good time with it.
Yeah.
I felt like it was almost like a small liberation sort of thing.
Yeah.
Considering that if you were into games, anime, comics, all that, it was very nerdy.
It was.
It was, you don't want to even say that you like Spider-Man or Marvel or whatever it is you're interested in. But, when I got into the scene, it was like, this is my haven, this is my tribe, this is my community.
These are my people. Like, I can feel safe around them, I can be myself, and I don't feel judged by it because everyone's into the same thing, yeah.
And I just felt fortunate that I learned a couple of skills, and I want to share it with the world because I want to invite as much people in to be able to be like, if you like it, go out there, do something that matters, or go connect with those people who might be like-minded to you.
Yeah.
I mean, every day we're brought full of opportunities to meet someone. But hey, you got a collective. I thought, why not? So in terms of my camera work, when I transitioned, I thought it is also another avenue that I can push content or push messages or share things. If anything, it's a more powerful one now.
Yeah.
I'm now sharing photos. I'm now sharing videos. We're using my video camera right now to share this story. So I think that the values definitely did align. So once you've learnt the skills, once you feel like you actually do enjoy it, it was a natural transition from then.
Yeah, cool. Now, I know for a fact as well, just like I said, we've all tried to be in the spot of, well, of I like this passion of mine so much. It starts off as a hobby, it starts with a little interest, and then you get more into it. And just like cosplay, you're like, wow, I'm getting pretty good at this. I know how to make this. I've entered a few competitions. I've won a few awards, etc. And you start to think to yourself, wow, this is the only thing I think about when I'm not at work, when I'm not at school. And you want to just do that, more of that. And so I think it's a very natural process to start thinking, how can I turn this into more than just a hobby? How can I turn this into something which I can do every day, something that can pay the bills, something that can earn an income from. And you, just like me, has gone through the stage as a cosplay. You're like, okay, cool. What if I can turn cosplay into something I can make a tangible business?
Yeah.
Now, obviously, you've kind of done that for photography in itself, because you don't do as many cosplay shoots these days.
No. It's more of a side thing.
More of a side thing, because I know for a fact I do have cosplay photographer friends now, unless they're like really good mates, like you and me. It's like, hey, let's go shoot this costume because it's fun, and there's a cool warehouse over there. Sweet, like no questions asked. But if you're kind of not that buddy tier 4 friend, if you know what I'm talking about, you know. If you don't, then I'll explain that another time. But if you're not like super close friends, it's very common to be like, oh, cool, like you're a photographer, I like your costume, and you know, it probably starts out too where you know a few photographers in the scene too, where it starts off as, hey, like I like your costume, can I take some photos of you? Sweet, awesome. And as you kind of get more known and as you make more connections, you have less and less time because you want to shoot everybody. So photographers will charge a small fee to say, hey, let's do a small shoot together. Sweet. And that's a very reasonable thing to do. But obviously, you go to a convention, and in Australia, that's one convention every, month? Every 2 months at best?
3 months.
It's very, like, in between. So there's not really enough, convention time to just kind of make a living, just kind of doing photos like that. And you yourself made the active decision to say, okay, well, what else can I take photos of besides cosplay? When did you kind of think to yourself, hey, I want to kind of try and make money doing photography? When did that kind of become an idea to you?
Yeah, so I realized that my hobby at the time was getting quite expensive.
Camera equipment's not cheap.
I mean, it's the same as cosplay.
Yeah.
But when you are getting passionate or getting good, like there's a level of momentum that is happening. So I thought, I'm learning quickly. Every single time I buy equipment, it also fuels that passion.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, cool. I want to keep doing this, but there needs to be some way of an upkeep.
Right.
And I think that is the same with any sort of hobby you might have, whether you're into tennis, basketball, golf, cosplay. If you really, really want to keep continuing, you got to find ways to sustain it.
Yeah.
So, you're not doing it just by stressing yourself out or borrowing money from person A or B or Z, whoever. So I thought, okay, cool. So with the skills I do have right now with my camera, what is transferable about that? Or if not, what am I lacking?
Right.
So I realized, cool, I can do the basics, but I think I'm lacking a bit of experience. And with experience comes the confidence to do so.
Yeah, of course.
So, hey, I was in the cosplay community. One good thing about people who have cosplayed is they've been in front of cameras. So it's a matter of, I can potentially provide value by giving you a free shoot.
Yep.
And hopefully you enjoy the photos. Hopefully I learned something from it.
Yeah.
So that's really what it was. And it didn't feel like work because I got into it because I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
So I think that was a natural progression. And as I kept on doing more different type of shoots and jobs, I just kept on learning more or investing more. And if not, making the right connections.
Yeah.
Asking those people who have done, their long bits of learning or their long mistakes. I mean, everyone makes mistakes. Mm-hmm. And that's a good thing. But if you can try to shorten that time that it could potentially take you to learn something in a month or two, if you ask someone, maybe they can just shorten that a little bit. So that helped me a lot as well.
That's cool. So you kind of found yourself a mentor or just people to learn from. That kind of accelerated that learning process quite a lot more.
Yeah. So really seeing that there are going to be other like-minded people and, hey, I'm a little bit new. If you don't mind, can I ask you a few things? You know, you pick their brain, you work alongside them, even if it's just to hold their stuff. The power of observation is a big one, my friend. Yeah.
So did you find the photography, let's say, community is a good one to kind of get into? Because as a cosplayer, the only photographers that I'm ever usually exposed to is either when I go to a wedding, for example, and there's a photographer on site, but you don't usually talk with them much because they're doing their job, they've got stuff to do. But, sometimes there are photographers at conventions and they take photos, and those are usually the only photographers that I've had experience with. But whether it be cosplay convention photographers or other professional photographers in your industry, has that been a welcoming community to get involved with or learn from and talk to? Are they very gatekeepy? Are they very happy to share things? Or what's the community like in your experience?
Yep. So long story short,
Yeah.
it's just like any other industry.
Right. There's got to be good eggs and bad
So
eggs.
everything that Jeremy just said, yes, 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 yes,
Right.
yes, yes, yes. So then it's really a matter of just speaking to people that you just somehow resonate with.
Right.
Don't worry about their skill level. Don't worry about what equipment they have. Don't worry about what they've done. It's just more so talk to them because they might have a perspective you don't have.
Right.
Or, of course, if they're experienced, you can learn something fresh. So, yes, I felt like I had to start again. Going from cosplay community to photography community, I did feel like it was a hard reset, not only in terms of skills, but also the people that I knew.
Right.
Considering that I built a network over 10 years just being in the convention scene, you're going to have to start somewhere. So it's really, telling yourself that, hey, I am new. Hey, I just need a few pointers, and being humble about that. Just knowing that we all need to start somewhere.
Of course.
And yeah, you might get those people who might gatekeep you a bit or be like, ew, you have your costume, it looks so, ew, or your camera is so budget.
Yeah.
That's fine. I mean, again, it's almost like a rite of passage. You need to go through that.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it almost tests you, whether you realize or not, to see, is this really for me?
No, that's a good point that you make, actually, because it doesn't matter what it is, photography, cosplay, a job that you're starting, right? Cooking an egg. You're going to have to go through this, okay, this is difficult and everybody around me is more experienced. Let's dive in and see what I do and how I feel about it. And there's going to be a certain part of you which is like, wow, this is difficult, this sucks. I'm not sure I'm really enjoying this. But there's also going to be those things which is like, this is difficult, this sucks, but I really want to get better at this because I really enjoy this process. It might have not turned out well, but and that sounds like that was the case for you, in which
yeah. I mean, there's definitely the ups and downs.
Yeah.
I mean, if we're putting it back to cosplay, there are going to be moments where you imagine what the prop is, you know what it is, someone's told you what materials to use. But until you actually put the work, you'll realize that the process of creating it, you've got the right idea, but there are going to be some issues here and there.
Yeah.
And you just have to go through it.
Right.
I mean, you can't expect to just be good overnight. Someone's obviously worked hard to show you those beautiful photos and those beautiful cosplays that, you follow and enjoy and admire from whoever that inspires you. So yeah, I think it still relates to what I mentioned before, but being humble and really starting from ground zero. But remember that, why you're doing it to begin with. I think that's very, very important. It's like your passion or, what it gives you. So for me, camera work is I get to capture beautiful, special moments. And when I send it to someone, they're going to cherish it. That's what I get out of it.
Yeah, cool.
And I think that's something really special. And because of that, that makes me and that drives me to do better. Like when I shoot a wedding and then I see the bride's dad crying, tears of happiness, mind you. I'm like, wow, I made that happen just for being here and sharing my skills.
Obviously, it's something that's really fulfilling for you. You kind of get to capture those moments. But is it always, that moment where, the bride's dad is crying tears of happiness and you give them their fully edited compilation of photos and videos of the event and you give it back to them and they're like, oh my God, it's like the best thing ever. You've made my event and I'm so happy. And is that the kind of feedback that kind of really makes you like, yeah, I've done my job? Or
Yeah. I mean, it's very, very similar to whenever I used to do retail as well. It's you're gonna get paid the same.
Yep.
You're gonna do your hours.
Yep.
But it's those moments where someone's like, hey, just really want to share that we really appreciate having you here. And that changes everything.
Yeah.
Yes, it's free. But yeah, I think those are the things that make me get out of bed and want to do better.
That's really nice. No, I'm glad about that. Because as you can see, like the biggest thing to kind of take away from this is you started off doing cosplay, which was like your passion at that exact point in time. And, you know, right now you're a photographer and videographer. And is that something, like, it's something you never expected to have been, like, all the way from back when you're growing up as a kid or go through school, and just, it's something that you stumbled across and happens to be like, wow, I really like this. And you've kind of picked it up and ran with it. And, you know, it's not to say that for everybody, you find your passion, you have to make that your career, right? Because some people, it's like, I enjoy keeping this as a hobby. I'm happy just working my boring day job so I can put all the rest of my time into my hobby and my passions, and I don't necessarily have to make that a career. But it's obviously for yourself, what made you decide, hey, I want to do more of this rather than, like I mentioned before, just keep a 9 to 5 and use that money to kind of fuel your hobby or your interest in photography? What made you kind of decide, no, I want to kind of turn this into something in which that's going to be my career, my thing? What kind of made you decide to do that?
So I probably by now sound like a broken record, but I mean, it's almost intentional. But the passion is really what drove it.
Right.
Like, I loved it so much to the point where I was thinking about it all the time.
Yeah.
Even when I was going to bed, I was like, okay, I'm in bed, I'm nice and settled, and so if you move the shutter speed, and then you got a balance of the ISO, and 50 mils really... Holy crap, am I sleeping or am I thinking about it? That was a good sign. That was it was crazy and whack as it was, but it was a good sign. And yeah, I think that was the main thing. And also seeing that, again, it's another creative outlet that I can push messages and make people feel good. And I thought that makes sense. Plus, I've always been a bit more on the artsy side. Whether it was making cosplay or, you know, doing a little bit of doodling back in the day, drawing.
So an office job just wasn't going to cut it for you long term?
Sorry?
An office job just wasn't going to cut it?
No. So I did do my fair share of office work and retail work and hospitality work. Kid you not, done more than 15 jobs.
Hey, that's cool, no, you get that range,
so I felt like I personally gave it a fair go. Like, all these different jobs and different industries. And yes, I had to learn every single time. Didn't really feel that passionate. Something, I can't explain it really well, but the best way I can say is I felt like I was just doing the motions, but it wasn't my calling. Or I felt that I was limited to what my imagination or what I actually wanted to do. So it was almost like, you know, when you watch a movie and the dad's like, I want you to be a doctor. And it's like, but I really like to dance. And anything that you do to stray away from that, it felt like it was tearing at me in some way.
Right.
Even though, like, I was a lot younger and I didn't have the words, I couldn't explain it even like this at all. I just felt like there was something off. And piecing those all together and piecing in how much I love it and piecing in how much, you know, those that I share the photos and video love it, it was a no-brainer.
I'm glad.
And I was like, yep, I'm definitely doing this. And heck, I like traveling a lot as well. I like traveling, I like admiring art, I like admiring just little things. Even sometimes I'll even catch myself just walking down the street and I'll just stand there and be like, oh, that leaf looks really damn good.
Wow, look at that leaf. It's so crackly looking. I'm not going to crackle it, I'm just going to look at it.
So there's all these little fine details. And I'm like, if these aren't signs, I don't know what is. So again, I did what I've been doing. Give it a go.
Right.
Gave it a go. Yeah, this is right for me.
That's cool. Because I think every single person in existence goes through this dilemma. Like, what do I do with myself? You know, what kind of job am I going to have? How do I turn my passion into a career? Is this something I should turn into a career kind of thing? And by the sounds of it, it really is just give it a go. And you will find something out there. You know, you've gone through 15 plus jobs. You'll find something that's like, wow, this makes me feel fulfilled. This makes me feel amazing. And as you probably know with me, because, you know, we've been talking a long time, same thing. I don't think I've been through 15 jobs, but I've kind of gotten up there with a bunch of different things with, you know, retail and office jobs and axe throwing and, you know, all kinds of different things. I was selling underwear at an underwear shop once, believe it or not.
The more you know.
The more you know. And obviously, I've tried doing social skills coaching, and that's not something that you think, is that even a job? Same like turning photography into a career. Like, is that even a job for some people? Well, obviously it is, because someone has to take the photos in the magazines, but it's not something. It's like, oh, I'm advertising. I want one photographer who has XYZ qualifications. Like, it's not something so general that you can go to university. You probably could get like a course in photography and kind of pick it up from there, but it's very unlikely that you have a stable, like, oh, this is my one boss who works for a photography company and I'm going to pay me a regular wage.
Yeah.
What you're doing is like contract work to contract work, and you find clients, and
It's freelance, essentially.
freelance, yeah. So that in that kind of similar field in which I'm doing with social skills coaching, it's not something in which you apply, you write a resume, you send it off to somebody and they hire you, because it really is, you're doing a job in an industry which you're your own boss. You have to find your own clients and your own source of income. So it's something that you really have to kind of decide for yourself and say, hey, this is what I want to pursue and try to do, because even if the income's not regular, I don't get paid the same amount each week or each month. That's not guaranteed to even get paid.
Yeah.
And it's not, and I think that's the reality of if you want to pursue something that is your passion, you do probably have to work for yourself. You have to set up your own business, and there's going to be a lot of uncertainty.
Yeah. I mean, there's definitely a lot of that. And again, that's why I keep honing into how important it is to yourself,
Yeah.
your why, your passion. Because Jeremy said it best.
Yeah.
Yes, I hold the camera, I take photos.
Yeah.
But I also need to know what happens on the computer. I need to know what the lens does. I need to know what the camera does. I need to know lighting. But other than just the camera technical skills, I need now to learn how to do marketing. I didn't do that. I need to learn how to write proper emails. I need to learn how to make connections with all sorts of people. So whether it's a potential bride, a mother doing a baby shower, if you run a flower business, if I'm speaking to a big CEO, like, these are scary people that I've never spoken to. So I had to learn people skills as well, just to add
Absolutely.
up on top of that. So people skills, marketing, admin, paperwork, just everything.
Everything
Bit
all
of everything. And don't forget, I am out on the road doing shoots for like 5-8 hours. You go home, probably triple the amount of that per shoot. That's kind of the ballpark of how long the editing takes. You really need to learn to slot that into your life.
It's so interesting, because when you get to the stage of your life where you say, cool, it's the whole thing is like, I don't want to have a boss, I want to work for myself. And I think for a lot of people that is a great idea in theory and on paper.
But it's not a fairy tale.
It's not a fairy tale, because while it is like, great, I don't have a boss, I can work for myself, it does mean you take on all this extra responsibility of making sure you keep in touch with the people who's going to pay you, all the invoices you have to write, all the new clients you have to find,
Or the food in your fridge.
or the food in your fridge. Paying for all these extra things, and if you need to hire someone for extra help, have to make sure you
Yes.
have to pay them for the extra work as well. And so it could be very, because I do know for a fact, I know people in cosplay, kind of like yourself, they haven't gone into photography, but they've gone to things like makeup artistry. They've gone to things like, I know someone doing like leatherworking now.
Yeah.
Someone doing that kind of stuff, and that's awesome. It sounds amazing. I'm sure they're very fulfilled in what they do. But on top of that comes this extra layer of things that you didn't think you need to learn, like exactly how to run a business, just where you're the employee and you have to pay yourself, and where that's coming from. So I'm not saying don't go chase your pay, like fucking go chase them, chase everything you want to do, but also at the same time just keep in mind you are going to lose that like security safety net of regular pay, holiday pay, holidays. Superannuation you have to pay yourself. Like, there's all these extra things you never even think about.
Yeah, I had to halve the amount of games and anime I was consuming at that stage.
You have to you have to put in that work. So it's freeing, because you do what you want on your own terms, but obviously that also comes at a different kind of cost. You never kind of really
I mean,
about.
cost and stress, the way I view that is more so, if you will feel more stressed or extra tired, and quotation mark the extra part, if it doesn't align with what you really want.
Yeah, right.
Or, something on those lines. So again, that's why the passion is so important, because you are going to have those moments where sugar? Do I have enough food in the fridge? Or how much money is coming in? But, those are going to be tough times, without a doubt. And you will go through it, whatever industry, whatever business you're going to start. Right. But if you don't have that why I like doing this, or why I keep doing this, or anything like that, you will burn out.
Yeah.
So really do stick to your networks. Really do your research. And also sometimes take those breaks and have a bit of self-reflection, saying, is this really what I need? Or what can I do better?
Yeah, absolutely. That's a good way of looking at it. I think for for anybody who is obviously listening in and you're a cosplayer, like how's it kind of relate to me? Because you're obviously, it's either cosplay is something that you are wanting to do as a career yourself, like whether it be like, oh cool, I want to do that as a career, so I don't have to be my own boss. Or like, I'm sorry, that the reality is if you want to be like a cosplay guest, or you want to travel overseas and do cosplay, or you want to make commissions for other people, in a way, shape, or form, you will be working for yourself. You have to approach convention organisers. You have to market yourself to conventions. You have to market yourself to your audience, and at some stage, you're going to obviously ask to get paid, and ask yourself, how much am I going to get paid? Is this going to be worth my time? What other things can I sell? So you are going to be running your own little business, especially if it's cosplay focused, because there's no real. There's I know that cosplay agencies out there, they will help, find you work, but at the end of the day, you're still going to be working for yourself. So whether you've got a job in wanting to pursue something in cosplay, you're wanting to pursue that other creative pursuit, outside of what you do in your day job, and for yourself, maybe you want to become a cosplay photographer or just a photographer in general. But for somebody who is, I guess in this case, interested in photography, and maybe right now they're just taking photos at conventions, and they're like you, like, wow, I kind of really enjoy the aspect of taking photos and meeting people and turning this photo into an artwork which they love. But for someone kind of wanting to take that to the next level, maybe kind of start getting into the industry of photography, what would be some advice from you to them that you would suggest?
Yep. So we mentioned that there was a lot of content that is created at cons, whether it's by photographers or people with their phones. Watch them, observe, ask questions. Great chance that they might even be your friends. If not, that's fine. That could be an opportunity to strike conversation with them and just ask those little questions. But other than that, I said it before, you've got one of these.
Got a phone, you can use it.
These are so powerful. In fact, I actually used to think cameras were stupid because of how good these things were. And this was 10, 15 years back.
Now they're even better.
They're even better than ever. And sometimes they even rival what cameras can do just because of the accessibility. And it's very, very cheap.
Yeah.
You probably already have it or you're about to buy your next one. So utilizing what you already have is good, because once you do get that shiny new thing, aka a new camera or something, you already have the fundamentals down pat. So why would you delay yourself in not starting at all? Or heck, even if you don't even have a camera, speak to people or go on the YouTube. It's free. And you should never discount free information if it's genuinely good.
Yeah.
So give it a go. Speak to your current networks, your friends, your family, your mum, your dog. Start taking photos of everything and anything. Because similar to, let's say, anime, there's so many genres. You got your shonen, you got your sports anime, you got your romance, etc., etc. Photography is actually the same. It's got genres, it's got styles. You also have photo and video. And this is just for me, but I told myself, don't knock it until you try it.
Right. So you've tried taking, I guess in this case, I know you told me as well, you go into forums, you go into, just talk to businesses individually and say, hey, look, this is the kind of work I do. This is the kind of video work I can offer you. Because you've done stuff like coffee shops and breweries and construction companies and so, obviously weddings and stuff as well. And you've kind of got those contacts quite simply just through having a conversation with them and say, hey, look, this is my photography work that I do. You pull out your Instagram or whatever, you pull out your website, whatever it is, and say, look, this is what I do. I feel like your business could benefit from this kind of thing if you're interested.
Yeah, so that really came a little bit later.
Right.
So I guess even before that, I seeked help and information through photography communities.
Right.
That I just found online. Again, we have so many resources, whether it's on Facebook or Instagram, whatever your platform is. I found that there was a community in Melbourne. I obviously knew that everyone there was a lot more experienced than me.
Yeah.
But it didn't matter. I thought, cool, let's attend these. Maybe we can make some friends and maybe we can learn a few things. That was really the big turning point for me. Just hearing everyone's stories of how they got to where they are or why they did it, the different genres they shot and what they enjoyed about it. So fortunately for me, COVID was kind of a good thing, or the pandemic. It was a good thing because that gave me the opportunity to reach out. So I'm sure a lot of people can relate with this, but when you're following, influencer with the 4,000 subscribers or whatever the number is, you get a little bit shy of sliding into their DMs.
Of course,
to even say hi or great work. COVID was good because everyone was between four walls. We had very, very strong...
So you kind of just sent out messages and saying, look, if they reply, awesome. If they don't, then whatever.
Correct.
And by the sounds of it, a lot more people had more time to kind of go through messages and...
Fortunately.
And have a chat with you kind of thing. So that's good. Like, I think you spent your COVID kind of hustling in your own way. Because, like, look, I'm just going to use this time to... Well, what's that saying? Just like... you spent your time, I don't know, playing around. I studied the blade. In this case, I was studying the camera. Is that kind of what happened?
Well, actually, a funnier version of that, he's not wrong, but a funnier version of that happened. So I was at work at that time, and everyone was all complaining about, oh man, all I'm doing is going to work, going home, eating, and we can't go outside, so I'm just going...
Getting bigger. Your belly's growing.
Getting a lot bigger. And so they weren't happy with that. And I'm like... Whoa, I'm on the same trajectory. Whoa, I'm doing the same stuff as them. I think I should be using my time more effectively.
Wow. What kind of work were you doing at the time?
I was working at Harvey Norman.
Yeah, right.
Doing retail, so sales and all that. But I thought, yeah, you know what? Like, I'm going home. I've got more time now. So, yeah, I'll still play games. I'll still watch anime and all that. But maybe if I can squeeze a few hours here and there of self-study, why not? And taking photos within my own room.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a bit cringe, but
hey, look,
I mean, you needed it. I needed it.
You got to do something, and it's gotten you to kind of where you are now, which is, you have the knowledge, you have the skills to not only take the photos and the video work to offer to clients to sell to them, but you also kind of know how to propose the idea to businesses. You know how to kind of approach them. You know what to say. You know how to kind of market that idea to potential clients or people that you talk to. But I know you, obviously, personally, as a person. It's not as if you walk outside, and you know me as well, it's not as if, like, I like going to conventions or you like going out to have a coffee or something with the sole intention of, like, is this business someone that I can sell my services to? Or because it's nothing like that. And just, like it is for me when I go to a convention, it's not like I'm going to a convention to be like, is this socially awkward fellow someone that I can sell my coaching services? No. It's nothing like that whatsoever. It's quite simply, and for anyone listening in too, if you're thinking, maybe I can go and get a cosplay gig by talking to this famous cosplayer, or maybe I can get a cosplay gig by talking to people at this company and finding out jobs. That shouldn't be the intention of networking. The sole purpose of networking and why you and I both like going out together and just talking to people is not to get anything from them. It's nothing like that. The sole purpose is, for myself anyway, go to a convention, meet cool people. I meet a cool cosplayer. I meet a pretty girl. I meet a handsome guy. I meet someone who works at a booth. We went out shopping today. We met some shopkeepers, right? And all you do is you strike a conversation. Are they a cool person? Yeah, sweet. They're kind of cool. Like let's have a chat. You talk about what do you do for work? What do you like doing in your spare time? And you're like, sweet, we're vibing. This is cool. And if the conversation goes well, then cool. Like, hey, let's keep in touch. Like, let's swap details. Yeah. Follow each other on Instagram. Send each other an email address or whatever. And it might not be that person. It might be a friend of theirs. But later down the line, it's like, wow, Jeremy's got this, it might be, for example, for yourself, it's like, wow, I met this cool people last week, and then, I don't know, a friend of a cousin or something of theirs might be like, yeah, I need some photography work done for my business. And then that person might be like, I actually know a guy, because, you've told me he's a cool guy. And in my case too, it's not like, look, that's a person I could sell to. And that's like, no, just people that I've met and clients that I've gotten, most of it's been through, hey, I'm going to talk to this cool person over here. You've got a great cosplay, learn out what they do. And then there might be, it's like, wow, I've got like a friend who I'd like to bring to conventions and stuff, but they're too kind of shy, and can I pass them on your details? I'm like, yeah, of course, just tell them to get in touch with me. And that's the point of networking. You might meet someone who is a cool cosplayer who happens to work for a company who needs photography work, or you go to a convention and you meet someone who's like, wow, I actually work for Logitech, and we've got this new brand of mouses, and we need someone who's like a gamer and a streamer, and you look like you're a gamer and a streamer, would you like to kind of get on board with this? And you're not going there just to meet people who have a position, and I think that's a big thing.
Yeah.
Because you've probably met the same thing, like you meet people who's like,
all the time.
I only want to talk to you because you've got this title or this position, or you're a CEO of this. And how does that kind of make you feel?
Yeah, so, I mean, I think it's gotten to a point where everyone is viewing people almost like a noun.
Right.
Or like a thing.
Yeah.
But really, you should be treating it more that every person is a potential relationship. And the relationship is, if we're just breaking down relationships in general, it could be a romantic relationship, it could be a friendship, it could be a work colleague, it could be, your spouse, it could be anyone, basically. And it's not just about, hey, I'm here because I know you have something that I want.
Yeah.
So, yeah, you could collaborate with a famous cosplayer, but don't just do that because you saw they have a big number.
And you're like, oh, if I could get their big number to watch me.
No,
it shouldn't
doesn't work that way.
It really doesn't.
Because a real relationship is you are both enjoying the presence of each other.
Yeah.
And as a result, you generally just have some kind of contribution together.
Yeah.
So what do I mean by that? I hang out with Jeremy because we have the same mutual interests. We get along, and I think when I'm around him, it inspires me to do better, and we want to talk to more people.
Yeah, it's just, we inspire each other.
Correct.
It's good. It's like, I'm around you, like, hey, dude, you're doing great.
Yeah.
I love you. And you're like, wow, dude, thanks. You're doing great. I love you. And that's the kind of, think of like what a friendship is. You go to a friendship because what are you there? Are you there to get something from the other person? Do you want to get something, because they're famous, because they're fun to be around? No, you're a friend with somebody because you genuinely like being around each other's company. It's a vibe that you share, and something that you can spend time talking. And if you get nothing but friendship from them, that's all you need.
Yeah.
And anyone you go out to meet should be exactly the same. Like, you're not out to, get something because they have a lot of money or they have a lot of followers. If you share a vibe, that's it. That's all you should really be looking for.
And like reflecting back to when I was doing cosplay, I was wanting to collaborate, just like how a lot of you would like to collaborate with others. And the people I was collaborating, they were good at things that I weren't. So I knew people who were really good at makeup, wigs. I was horrible at doing that.
Yeah.
So what I was like, hey, I really, really like your stuff. I think it's real super. And basically what I did was, let's cosplay together. I can do the props if you're happy to do the wig, and we can both go to the con looking awesome. Yeah. Like, that was pretty much the mentality, and the friendship grew from there.
Yeah, absolutely.
And same with my photography work is, I go to a cafe, I genuinely like the product, the coffee, the cakes that they have. So I'm like, you know what? I'm going to do some photos and video. If they like it, cool. If not, that's fine as well. It's just for myself.
Yeah.
So I shared that sort of stuff, and they're like, this is actually pretty cool. And I'm like, thank you. So, I could potentially share this with you as well. You've got a cool business. Maybe just needs a little bit of help with some media stuff. So that was pretty much where I was taking it.
Right.
So it should always be a shared experience. It's not just taking. It's not like, that's a shiny cafe. I see X amount of customers. I'm going to go in there.
Yeah.
Because, man, if you're going in there, you are needy.
I think that comes with anything. Where it's not just business relationships, but also like romantic relationships or friendships. If you come across as needy, like you want something from the other person that you want to take from them, then you're not going to have a genuine friendship or relationship in any way, shape, or form. So I think I can't remember who said it. But it's something like instead, let's do the exact opposite. Instead of saying, "Oh, what can I get from this person? They're famous, they've got money, blah blah blah." It's what can you give to the other person? And I'm not saying just give like, "Oh, I'm not famous. I don't have this and that." You don't have. The only thing you really have to give, if you have photography skills, hey, look, I take cool photos. You cool cosplayer. Let's swap, right? I'm a cool cosplayer. You're a cosplayer. We should collaborate sometime. Or if you're like me and you're lazy, you don't go in cosplay sometimes because you can't be stuffed. At the very least, bring good vibes. Be someone who's really fun to hang around, someone who's positive. So, when I do talk to cosplayers, I'm like, dude, like, you look amazing. Like, just tell me about it. You look like a cool person. And just bringing good vibes to a stranger that you've never met before. I mean, you probably feel the same as well, if you're listening in. The people that you like hanging around are the people who pump you up, the people who make you feel good, the people who give you compliments. Your friends are all like that. The ones who say, dude, you've got this. You look amazing, you look awesome. And so if you feel like, oh, I don't have these cool skills to give, just bring good vibes.
Yeah.
Be a really cool person to hang around. And that's a great starting point for any potential, relationship, like you mentioned.
Think about how many times someone's like, oh, that's a really, really cool costume from a stranger. And how did that make you feel? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that costed nothing. It took less than 5 seconds. So even if you're shy, you can still say thank you, or you can still offer. It's like, hey, it's been real fun. Can I offer you a coffee? That's pretty easy.
That's at the end of it, a shoot or something, or just.
No, that's at a convention. Like I've done that before.
You can absolutely. The biggest thing is just don't go around like, what can I get? What can I get with it? It's just like, okay, what? Okay, this is a good way of looking at it too. This helped, and you, Kien, have definitely been through this situation.
Okay.
Because, we're talking a bit of social stuff here now, and this rolls into photography. Trust me. Okay.
Okay.
You meet someone new. You're like, okay, cool. Are they gonna like me? Are they not? Because they look really cool. Like this
natural.
This CEO looks rich. That cosplay looks really beautiful. And obviously you're like, okay, cool, I just got to bring good vibes. I'm going to bring good vibes, but are they going to like me? Fuck. Like, I don't know. Is this going to work out? But look at it two ways. You have to look at it the other way as well. It's number one, like, are they going to like me? Am I going to be good enough? Ask yourself the exact opposite. Am I going to like them? Are they also, if I bring good vibes, I'm really fun and energetic, are they going to return that? Maybe they might be like, oh, no, I'm not. I'm a terrible person. You should go away because you're not famous enough. Whoa. Okay, that's fine. Or are they going to be like, yeah, look, I don't have a vibe. We just don't get along. That's fine. You don't have to get along with everyone you meet.
Yeah. I mean, I think everyone's meant for everyone. I mean, if we're looking at a romantic sort of sense, there is going to be someone fit for everyone.
Oh,
whether
absolutely.
you found them already or you have not, doesn't matter. It's a road. You're gonna keep walking it, and you're gonna learn different things on the way, and that's gonna be the same with any sort of connection you are going to be making.
Yeah.
And if that person's a bit like, oh, I only talk to those who have 1 million or more followers.
Stuff that person.
That's a good thing. That's a blessing. You do not want to work alongside someone like that because it's not going to be a fair exchange.
We've had this chat about this last night, and that you've been the same as me. I asked yourself, did you turn down any clients? And it's the same thing with not just business, but in your relationships and people that you meet. You've probably received those weird DMs in your Instagram being like, hey, did you want to advertise our t-shirts or our jewelry or something? Blah, blah, blah. It's the same thing.
That's needy.
That's needy, right? You can say no, and you don't have to say anything.
Bad vibes.
Bad vibes.
Very bad vibes.
In the same way, like you might ask yourself, okay, cool, how do I, show off my good side? And the most basic answer is just bring good vibes.
Yeah. I mean, I can change what you just said.
Yeah.
So what was the sentence you said again?
Which one?
Like they slide into your DMs.
Okay, so you know how businesses, they slide into your DMs and they're like, hey, they don't say your name. It's like, hey there, we looked at your profile and think you'd be a great fit. And we'd like to give you this free t-shirt. All you have to do is reply to us and we'll send you a free t-shirt.
Yeah. Cool. So we heard that.
Yeah.
Now, how much does that, like, how does that make you feel when you hear that? You're like, spam.
Yeah.
They want something from me.
Yeah.
They just want my money.
They want my presence. They want my follow account to advertise the t-shirts. They want something from me. And
Yeah.
obviously it makes you feel like, no, you want something from me that's needy as heck, right?
But I will add just 2 more seconds into that same sentence, and
Yeah.
it's going to change everything. Hey, how are you? Really love the work you've been doing. That last cosplay of yours was amazing.
Yeah.
Then you can insert everything that Jeremy just said.
It does make it more personal. Number one, if you're like, hey, use their name, use their actual profile thing, right? And exactly what you said, mate, give them a compliment. Like, I saw your last cosplay. It was awesome. It costs nothing.
Yeah.
Take this into real life. Go to a con. I'm going to say go to DreamHack tomorrow. No. By the time this is published, this is going to be a month in the future. So, next con you go to, you're like, okay, cool. Doesn't matter if it's photographer, cosplayer, just random person walking around. Doesn't have to be at a convention. You can take it out to your workplace, person at a coffee shop. You can, it's like, how do I start a conversation? All right, here we go. Social things 101. We'll wrap this up soon, but this is a good way to kind of put it for a tip of like how to kind of get started with whatever you want to do. It has to involve people. Doesn't matter what industry you're in, right? So cosplay, photography, just business in general. You need to start these conversations, bring the good vibe. How do you do that? It's as simple as...
Pretty much what I just said. So, like pretty much just simple greetings. Treat those how you would like to be treated, or compliment them. You know, find. It sounds so mechanical when I explain it this way, but even see what they're wearing. You know, like what kind of handbag they have, what kind of little keychain. You'd be like, I watched that show too. It's really, really cool. Did you watch season 2? Yeah. You know, it's something so simple. Or, whoa, you have green hair. Oh, I've always wanted to do that, but I've never done it. How was it? How was your experience?
Yeah.
Boom.
Cosplay is easy mode. It's quite simply like, oh my god, cosplay looks amazing. Did you make it? How'd you make it? I love this character.
You've got so many cues
It's
already.
so easy. It's so easy. Just bring compliments.
Yeah.
And by the way, genuine ones. Not ones where it's like, wow, I want to give them a compliment because they're that famous cosplayer, or wow, they're really pretty and I'd love to go on a date with them. It's nothing like that. Say it to guys, say it to girls, say it to old people. I'd say, tentatively say to young people, but as long as their parents are there and it's, you know, it's cool, right? Just everybody you see, shopkeepers, coffee people, just like, this coffee is amazing. Thank you so much. This is the best coffee I've had. I'd love to come back another time. Just, whatever job you do, you know, same as you said, Kien, these photos, this video of me and my family, thank you so much. This is the best thing I've seen. No one's ever recorded something before, and this really makes it. You're like, yeah, you've already paid me, so this compliment costs you nothing. But in the same way in which whatever you do, whatever someone else does, whether it's just a job, compliment. Just, it's free, it's simple.
You both get something out of it.
You both get something. You are not seeking anything from them. You're not like, hey, I'm going to give you this compliment because you'll like me back. No, it's like, it should be as simple as, I'm going to give you this compliment, and it should be as simple as like, cool, take the compliment and I hope you appreciate it. If you don't, that's fine, but just want to let you know I appreciate you. Look, this is a genuine compliment, okay? Kien, you're a wonderful friend. Thank you so much for being my friend. I really appreciate it.
Yeah.
See, now I'm not asking Kien to be like, wow, now Kien's going to buy me dinner because I said that. No! It's just, it's free, it's simple. It shows you exactly how you feel about other people, and, you know, meeting someone new, tell them something that you like, tell them something you admire, tell them something you notice about them, and it's gonna take you a long way, just being appreciative of other people and bring that good energy. That's what you need. That's what you need. Anyway, I'm glad that you have found like your niche in photography, because that's obviously something that
it's great.
It's brought you a lot of joy, and it's something that you're able to bring to a lot of other people as well in your work and what you do and the way that you can kind of communicate that. And I've seen you grow as a person. It's wonderful to see, my friend. So
No, thank you very much. No, it's very, very nice. Yeah.
Now, that's. Have you been on a podcast before? Or?
No, this is the first podcast.
First podcast.
Yeah.
What do you think? It's fun.
Very, very interesting experience.
Yeah.
But again, this is actually a different form of an outlet to share things.
It is.
So yes, I may have got the camera, but you opened this up. So
that's what it is.
Whoa! What just happened?
It's like, we both got something out of it. Collaboration. This is fantastic. Actually, gotta say, this happens every time as well, because actually the energy that we've got right now is like, wow, it's giggly and bouncy, because we've warmed up, we've talked, and I don't know, maybe the first half of it was like, oh, let's just regular polite discussion, but it's usually by the end of the hour, it's like, fuck, all right, this is the better part. So it's more fun. But as it is, this is what happens. But no, thank you very much for joining us on the podcast this episode. Now, Kien, before we go, for anybody who wants to follow your work and wants to see what you get up to online and is interested in what you do and wants to collaborate or something one time, where can we find you online?
Yeah, so as we mentioned before, it's not going to be all cosplay stuff anymore, but essentially on Instagram, on YouTube, it's Project Lumini.
I'll put that in the description below, wherever you're listening to this, on Spotify, YouTube, Apple Podcasts, wherever it is. But if you liked this podcast, if you like this energy, if you like the fact that we actually put on a camera so you can see our interaction, and you would like me to try and do that more, let me know in the description on either Instagram or where else, on YouTube. They're the only two places you can post comments. I don't think I can do it on Spotify, but
it's starting a conversation.
Yeah. That's just it. Let me know what you like, because if that's what you want, I'll try and do this more, but we'll see how we go. All right, we'll see how we go. I can't guarantee anything, but we'll do our best. Apart from that, thank you very much for tuning in to this week's episode. Hope you enjoyed it. And that was mostly about cosplay photography and a little bit ranting about
bits of life.
Just bits of life, and giving you some look, go and bring some good vibes. Spread the good vibes. That's what you got to do. Thank you very much for tuning in. We will. I don't know when this will be out in about a month or so. So today's DreamHack, everybody. DreamHack Friday down in Melbourne. That's what I'm here for. So thank you very much for joining. Thank you, Kien, very much for joining us.
Pleasure.
And offering your stories and your insight. And we'll see you next week. Bye.